Welcome everyone and welcome to today's video. We are having a look at the LMP2 car that has just been added to iRacing. One of two brand new cars have been added. This is the Dallara P217. So it's technically the LMP1's baby sister, as you can tell from the shape of it. It looks very similar, slightly smaller, slightly slower. Well, considerably slower really, because LMP1s are called rocket ships for a reason. But this is still very fast in its own right. Sits very comfortably in between LMP1 and a GTE car. I believe it's faster than the HPD, which has just been discontinued. And this is a little bit more nimble as well. The other car that's been added is the Corvette CR8, which is a new GTE car. Really excited about that one as well, because it's been a very long time since we've had a GT car added to iRacing. But I'll be following this video up with a first look at the CR8, and we'll eventually both put these cars into a race scenario as well, because it is week 13 after all. So where else are you going to be able to have some fun, should we say? But what we're going to do in this video is have a look in VR. In particular, for anyone who follows this channel, you guys know that I predominantly race in VR. Absolutely love it. A lot of you guys do too who follow this channel. And while we've had a look at the promo videos, and Jimmy Broadbent also had a look at this as at early access, it was from a single monitor perspective. We haven't seen it in a VR. So what does it feel like actually sitting in the cockpit of the car? How's the visibility? How's the actual visuals of the car as well? Moving our head around, can we see the mirrors? Things like that. And also take it out on track and see how it actually feels compared to the HPD and just other cars in general. So is it going to be a worthy successor to the Corvette DP, the prototype? To be honest, I think that's so far out the question. I think yes, it is. Before we've even driven it, that car was not well supported and quite difficult to drive as well. So this, to me, before that, is a worthy successor to it. It's also what is currently being used in IMSA for the prototype, and is also being used in the World Endurance Championship. So it is really very relevant and still being used today. So we finally got a couple of modern cars that are still currently being used, rather than outdated models for once. But yep, I'm going to stop talking. We are going to jump into the cockpit in the pit lane, have a general look around, see how it feels, and then take this bad boy out on track. So here we are, guys. We are in the cockpit of the new LMP2 car, Dallara P217, and wow, really like it. I love the detail on this steering wheel. You can see kind of the indents on the handles there, and the switches and buttons. I feel like I can just reach out and touch them. VR kind of never ceases to amaze me, really, and VR is only going to get better as well with next gen headsets. So this looks really good. The display's nice and clear. Now if we turn this steering wheel like this, we can see the button box in the middle of the console here, or the middle of the cockpit. And I tell you what, my first impressions were, or my first thoughts was, is that a Stream Deck? It looks like a Stream Deck. Maybe Elgato had some influence here in their design on their button box, because it really does look quite like it. But yeah, really nice and a stand out there. Not obviously we ever get to really reach out and touch that. Once again, feel like I could, but I can't. And just above it, you will see a blank screen. Now this is the rear view camera, to see out the rear of the car. Now I can't, for no life or death of me, get this to work or get this to turn on. I'm sure there is a button or a setting somewhere. I haven't been able to find it. I don't know if it's maybe a bug in the game, or if it's a case of me just restarting my sim. I don't know, but for some reason I can't seem to get this to work. But that is where your rear view camera is. when it's working. Now, if we just have a look around the rest of the car, see we've got the winds, or the intakes there, blowing out wind into your face. And then just the rest of the car, which we never really spend too much time looking at, because obviously our eyes are on the road and on the steering wheel. But when you actually look at it, the detail of it is put into these cars, and the level of the scanning, you just realise how much they actually pick up. And we can see, like, obviously all the wiring over there, and the latches on the doors, and just the general look of the carbon fibre as well. It's really impressive, really impressive. Especially amazes you kind of what we can do with technology these days. Now, another thing that I was quite tentative or worried about coming into this car beforehand was the visibility. I know, obviously, through LMP1 cars, some of their visibility isn't too great, and I was worried if that was going to be the same in this car too. And you'll be glad to know that, as you can probably see already, the visibility is more than fine. It's good, it's brilliant. It's one of the best visibility-wise cars. I don't know if that's the right terminology there, but it's one of the best cars for visibility I think I've actually been in, to be honest, in iRacing, other than the open wheelers. But if we look to the left, I have no issue being able to see outside the left of the car, see who would be pulling up alongside me, or hopefully see who's going past me as I overtake them, or as I go past them. And you can clearly see in that mirror on the right hand side as well, there's no obstruction here in regards to obviously the rests that you've got to protect yourself in the car. Quite the same on the right hand side as well, which is really good. And the front windscreen is just nice and wide open. Of course, we have our blind spots like we do on any car, but the wheel arches don't really come too much into view to impair your vision either. So you don't have I don't really have any issues, or found any issues, in regards to looking into the apex and hitting the apexes when I've run the few laps that I have done so far. Now, it's a bit of a shame, but we do have a windscreen wiper in the middle of the windscreen. While it doesn't impair your vision, it hasn't really got much of a use either, has it? Because iRacing haven't got the rain in the sim as of yet. Who knows? Maybe we can keep our fingers crossed and hope that they add it in a future date, but I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. But yeah, really impressed with this cockpit. Now, the last thing I'm going to point out to you guys, now some of you have maybe picked up on it already, I don't know if you have, but if you haven't noticed, my headset isn't broken. You are correct, that steering wheel is slightly off center, ever so slightly over to the right. To be honest, I've already got used to it. After the laps that I've run, I've kind of processed that that's where it is, but when you first originally get in the car, it is a little bit off-putting. So don't keep readjusting your headset, because that is actually where the wheel is supposed to be. It's just slightly off to the right. I don't know why I'm doing that, because you guys can't see, or I can't even see, but it's slightly off to the right hand side of your body, ever so slightly, but it's enough to notice, especially in VR, maybe not on a single monitor, but yeah, I'm really impressed here. Another thing to add, guys, not in relation with this car or this cockpit, but you may have been hearing this guy cough. Now, nope, he hasn't got COVID-19. There he goes again. He hasn't got COVID-19. He is what iRacing have now added to their sound system, or sound effects within the game. They have added crashes, just general ambient sounds, engine noises, pit crew guns. They've added a load of new sounds into the game, into the sim, to add that extra level of immersion, which is all as well adjustable within the sounds setting option, which I think is really cool. It's something else, something we didn't really expect, but it just, especially in VR, adds that extra level of immersion, and I'm all for that. So little touches, sometimes it's the little touches that go mean a lot more to me than the big things, because someone's picked up on that because they know that's going to make it's going to make things a little bit more special, which personally I think it has done. So guys, one last thing that I have just noticed before we go out on track actually is this display. Now, as you can see, we've got the standard display in front with the live fuel, brake bias, lap time, last lap time, etc, etc. Now, if we go up to the right hand side in our black box here, we have in-car adjustments and we have our display page. Now, there are 3 different options here. Race 1 is what we're currently viewing on the screen, and if we click race 2, we get this handy little display here. Now, what this does, this shows us, I'll get a little bit closer for you, this shows us our brakes, which has the pressure, the balance, the temperatures, the tyre pressures, and the tyre temperatures. Now, in previous cars gone by, there's been a kind of a similar setting in this regards, where you've been able to see kind of tyre pressures or maybe tyre temperatures, but they haven't actually changed. They haven't really done anything. They've just kind of been there for a visual aspect, an aesthetic look really, just to have a different display. Now, this actually does work, and this is going to be really handy in your races, particularly the longer races. This car is available in IMSA, which is 45 minutes, and ILMS, which is an hour. So quite considerable races where it is required sometimes to look after your tyres, a bit of tyre management. But more importantly, at the start of the race, we start off with cold tyres and cold brakes. Now, I'm currently sitting idle here in the pits, and you can see 21 degrees, which is very cold for the brake temperatures, and 51 degrees for the tyres. Now, those are cold, and you'll see when we're running laps that they do change, and you'll be able to see throughout the start, well, particularly at the start of the race, to know when your tyres and brakes are really up to temperature so that you can start pushing, and you'll know when to kind of start saving as well, and just protecting not so much the brakes, because brake wear isn't really a thing in iRacing, but more so the tyres, so that you know you're not pushing those tyres too much and you can do a bit of tyre management. So yeah, something I've noticed which I think will be pretty much a staple in my view moving forward in this car in particular. Really handy information there. Now, if we go to race 3 kind of doesn't really have that too much relevant information. It's battery power, the the oil temperatures, and we also have the water pressure and water temperatures. Now, those don't really come into effect in iRacing. We don't really have to take too much consideration, as engine blowouts aren't really a thing either in iRacing. So putting stress on the engine, very rarely does it happen, unless you're kind of plodding around in first gear or second gear for the whole track. You won't blow up your engine, only if you crash, really. So yeah, number 2 is what I'm going to be keeping it on, and because that is the most relevant information for me, especially at the start of the race. So yeah, as I said, now I've got that out of the way and discovered that, let's head out on track. So guys, here we are out on the track. What are my first impressions? Well, as seems to be the theme with this car at the moment, very impressed. I like it. Now I'm only running baseline setup. But yeah, it feels nice, feels comfortable, it's very quick. Around about, well, my optimums are 146 at the moment. I'm not really pushing it. And that's, well, I think memory serves me right, the GTEs were going around here in a 153, between the 153 and 155. So it's nearly 9 seconds quicker a lap, and that's this on a baseline. I love the sound. There's a proper oomph to it. And you can hear the exhaust as well. Kick back of the exhaust, or the exhaust spitting. Love it. Now in regards to handling, it feels good. I haven't really got too many comments on it. It doesn't feel loose. Like with a lot of these modern cars of this technical, you've got traction control, no ABS. But there's a number of traction control settings. Do need to be careful in the lower gears because there's a lot of torque. A bit similar to kind of driving the F3 in an essence. One thing I'm quite surprised about is the lack of downforce. Now that is only a baseline setup that I'm driving, so I'm sure when people get their hands on it, the car will perform a lot better. But compared to the HBD, which was like quite, well, it was wide, wasn't it? It's the wide boy, the HBD. Very big, very kind of clunky to drive. And this is a lot quicker, feels a lot quicker. I don't know if it actually is. I'm going to assume it is because it's a much more modern car. And it's the successor to the HBD. In regards to the LMP2 class, that is. See there, just as I get in first gear, back end slides a bit, but on this time model, I have had it out of the slower corners. It's very easy to catch slides. It's almost like you can proper throw this car around, which I like. You can really catch the oversteer. Which is really important, because that's obviously been one of the criticisms of iRacing in the past, is that the tyre model, when you make a mistake, there's really no way to catch it. And it's been too unforgiving. But yeah, I imagine I can go through Brooklands Maggots and Beckett's here so much quicker with the right setup. Feels really good, as I said originally when I was looking at the cockpit. Visibility's so good. I don't have any issue looking into the corners. I'm a little bit surprised at kind of how early I have to brake. Once again, probably in relation to setup, I have fiddled about with the brake bias a touch. But into some of the corners I do have to brake a little bit earlier than I'm expecting, well than I would be expecting myself to. But this car makes up for it in just top end speed. And you can get your foot down early. blocked up the brake set. Oh, you see, caught the slide. Years gone by, or seasons gone by, that would have been gone. Oh, we're very wide there. Now, I don't know if you guys can see, but down on the dashboarded front, look at those temperatures. 300 degrees for those brakes. Tyres are up to 90 going through that corner. So you can definitely tell the car's up to optimum temps now. Tyres are warm, brakes are warm. Yeah, see there, just tried to, can't go through there flat. Now I'm pretty sure in real life, as we missed the corner there, I'm pretty sure in real life LMP2 cars can take that flat out. There's no need to, maybe they do have a slight lift. I haven't seen any on boards, but I was at the WEC last year and I saw him in person. It looked like they were taking it flat to me, and it definitely weren't touching the brakes. So once again, keep saying it, setup related. But at the moment, definitely can't go through there flat out. Now, you guys might see pop up on screen as well, another new feature that iRacing have added is the off tracks. If we just skip over here, there is now an actual minimum that you have to take your slowdown by. It's 38 seconds. So if you don't take your slowdown within that period of time, you will receive a penalty. So a nice little addition there. A nice little addition that iRacing have added, just to make things a little bit more transparent for us guys, because that always has been annoying, slowdowns, not knowing when, how long you've got really to run them down and kind of take advantage of. But yeah, I've just currently run out of fuel, so let's pop back into the pits and let's top up again and get back out on track and just kind of give you guys my final thoughts. So here we are, back out on track. And final thoughts on this new LMP2. Well, my first impressions are, well, really, really good. It's a real fun car to drive. I think it's going to need a much needed aspect to IMSA and ILMS. More so IMSA, because the Corvette cars, or the DPIs, everyone knows the participation massively drops, and they were difficult cars to drive as it was. Whereas this feels a lot more easy to drive. It's so stable. As I said, catching the oversteer. So it's going to make for some much better multi-class racing. And I don't think the LMP2 car drivers are going to get such a bad rep as the DPs did. And we will finally get some good multi-class racing in IMSA. And I think this will be well supported as well. I think it's a car that will be much more supported than the HBD because of its accessibility and its easiness, and because it's available to drive in 2 series, not just one. Bit of a lock up there. And from a VR perspective, it's one of the most enjoyable I've driven. That's for sure. As I said, I really didn't think the visibility was going to be as good as it is. I have no issue at all in seeing out the right rear view, right mirror. Almost looks like the door's not even shut. The only thing I need to sort out is this, work out how to get this rear view camera to work. Yeah, but it'd be, I mean, I say it's good enough in baseline. It's okay in baseline setup. Quite a bit of understeer. So I can't wait to get my hands on a decent setup of this car and get out on track with it in a race scenario. I can't, yeah, a race is going to be coming your way, guys, after this video. But yeah, I can't wait to pit myself against other guys. Really impressed. Great addition, iRacing. Well done. Can actually get your foot down on the throttle a lot earlier than I originally thought. A bit wide. Bit of a slide around there, but you can see that I'm kind of... We just lost it at the end. I was for such a good lap there. As you may have noticed, I have got the damage turned off because I do a lot of crashing in testing because I try and find the limits of the car, which we just tried to do there. So close to holding that one at the end. A 46.1 without the spin probably would have been in the 45s. So yeah, considerably quicker than the GTEs. So in IMSA, that is going to be, it's going to make things interesting. Likewise in ILMS, it will as well with the LMP1 cars. Be interesting to see how well supported the LMP1 cars are now with this car, because I think these are just phenomenal. A real good addition. So there we go, guys. I hope you enjoyed that first look at this new car. I hope it's given some insight into this car for you guys, whether if you're going to make a purchase or not. Of course, got to see how it is in a race scenario, but it feels good on track on its own. I'm going to be taking it out on track and racing it this week in the series that they've currently got going on for week 13. Tracks change daily, so it'd be interesting to see how it handles around other tracks as well. But I'm definitely going to be racing in this. It's probably more so IMSA than ILMS. Not sure if I've got the time to put aside an hour at a time for the Le Mans series anymore. But definitely looking forward to overtaking some slower GTE and GT3 cars in this. It should make for some good fun. So guys, if you enjoyed that, remember to hit that like and subscribe button. Feel free to join my Discord in the link in the description below. Remember to turn those notifications on. The Corvette first look will be coming up very shortly, and we'll be taking both cars out on track in a race scenario before the end of the week too. So be sure to stay tuned for those. See you all again for the next one.